2025 growth plan. Now, one thing I know about Circle is they over deliver. So I know that you had Bonnie come on. I know you're going to have Sahil come on. I know that people are going to be here to serve and serve well. They're going to go over practical tips and ideation, and I love that. But I don't know about you if you've ever gone to an event where you will walk away from it and you feel high, you feel good, you feel confident, you feel ready, you have your plan, and all of that is great. So we go from this emotion to a tactic. But what I want to focus on here today is if you want to grow in 2025, what happens between the emotion of leaving this amazing event to the tactics and the amazing things that you learn? We're going to focus on this middle part right about here. But before I do that, I want to just take a second for grounding, because there was a time in your life and your career that you got to this point and you thought, what if? What if I could be listening as I'm walking my dog? What if I could be watching this while I'm folding laundry? What if I'm editing photos or videos and I'm listening to this summit? What if, let's be real, you can listen and watch this while you're sitting in your office or cubicle at your full-time job? Can I get an amen? There was a moment where you said, what if I could learn that? What if I could be there? What if I can experience a community? And I just want to say, look how far you have come. My name is Jasmine Star. What an honor and privilege it is to speak at this community and to also be a user. People have said, Jasmine, you're a Mexican. I'm Mexican and I'm Puerto Rican, which means I'm a hard worker. I like to dance, and people have said that I like to talk fast. And my response to that is, do I talk fast or do you listen slow? I am not sure. But I have to tell you that you and I, as entrepreneurs, we share something in common. Even if we don't have the same skin color, gender, belief system, business type, we share something in common. And it's something that I have battled with my whole life. And as an entrepreneur, it seemed to have reared its head. I don't know about you. Have you ever noticed that oftentimes your biggest struggles in business somehow are deeply rooted to an experience you might have had in the past? Let me know in the chat, because I don't want to be the only person who's like, oh, I get what's happening here. There is this word that only when I became aware of this word that it had a radical transformation in my business growth. But I had to learn this on a personal level for me to understand that there was this story that I was telling myself that things were outside of my control. And the word that came up to me was, I feel powerless in this situation. Maybe for you, like me, it showed up as, you know what, I don't have enough time. That no matter how much I work, I feel like I'll never get caught up. I don't know. Sometimes I was feeling I just didn't have enough attention. Sometimes I feel like I'm putting out content. I'm trying to grow a community. I'm trying to grow my business. And I just feel like I'm missing the mark and other things are happening for other people. And if I could only just get that. What about money? If I just had enough money, and I just never felt like I had quite enough to have that true peace and freedom that I wanted as an entrepreneur. And because I didn't have enough time, because I didn't have enough attention, because I didn't have enough money, I felt like things were happening to me. I wasn't happening to it. But I have to tell you that we are going to reach a place where we have to make a decision where we feel there is a circumstance, there is a person, or there is a situation that is blocking us from moving forward, that is blocking us from growing. Have you ever felt that something, someone, or perhaps you might be stopping yourself from moving forward? Can you let me know in the chat? Because what I want to do is have a real grounded conversation around what entrepreneurs are facing. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes we go around and we think or we feel like it's only happening to us, that somehow we are atypical and somehow we are doing things the same way other people are, but we aren't getting the same results. So if then that is the conversation, why don't we have a conversation and normalize that here? Because it's something we all face, but here inside of this community on this day, we get to have real conversations about what it means to grow our business. Now, here's the thing. I am not here to change your mind. If you believe that you cannot control your time, you cannot control attention, you cannot control money, you're right. If you feel like you have the capability of controlling time, money, and attention for growth. You're right. So how about we suspend any existing beliefs that you have right here, right now? Right here, right now, throughout the duration of this call, I want you to believe that you can control your time, you can control your money, and you can control attention. Just suspend that belief for the next 34 minutes. Because what happens is when you present me with the fact, Jasmine, I actually don't have enough money to get my business off the ground. Jasmine, I work a full-time job and I'm a caretaker and I'm trying to build this side business. I don't have enough time. If you present me with a fact and say, Jasmine, I am showing up to create content to grow my community and nothing's happening. When you present me with the fact, I am simply going to question what that fact means. What's your belief about that fact? So maybe you're here as an example. Maybe you tell me as a fact, you know what? I've tried it before, Jasmine. I've tried it and it didn't work out. That's a fact. I'm not disputing the fact. But my question to you is, what's the belief around that fact? Because if you say, Jasmine, I've tried it before and I'm here and I'm just kind of like half in, half out, I'm the problem. I don't think people want to learn from me. I don't think that people want to buy from me. I don't think that my business can be that big. I will say, you're right. But if you tell me as a fact, I've tried it before, and you tell me, you know what? I tried it before, but this time around, I'm better, I'm stronger, and I'm wiser, I'll agree with you. All I want us to do for the next 33 minutes is to say, what do our facts mean about the beliefs? Because if for the next 33 minutes, you can accept the fact that maybe you don't have as much time as you want, money as you want, or attention that you want. Those could be facts. You do not have $1 million in your bank account. But what do you believe about that? I had to change my beliefs about the facts. And when I did that, my business took off because I inherently knew the things I needed to do, but I actually believed things that were getting in my own way. Because powerlessness is not a result of the facts. Powerlessness is the results of the beliefs we place on those facts. Has your community not grown as much as you would like? What's the belief around that? Did you make an offer that nobody bought? What's your belief around that? Have you been struggling to get out of debt after college, after a credit card, and now you want to start a business and it feels like every wave continues to crash over you? That's a fact. But what's the belief that we have around those facts? Because friends, if you want to grow in 2025, it is less about knowing what to do. You're here, you know what to do, and you're doing it. Job well done. Now, because you're doing it and you know what to do, the thing that's going to get in our way from expanding into 2025 growth is, how do I get control of my belief system? So I want to go through a 2-part framework on how to change our beliefs. Now, before anybody says, oh, this is a woo-woo class, I came to Circle to learn about business. Let me tell you, if you want to scale and grow your business, it is not about what you know. It is what you believe. Because what happens is, as entrepreneurs are growing, and y'all even see it inside of this community, right? Can I get a witness? Have you ever looked at somebody else's business and you see them growing and you see them doing amazing things and you see their growth rate as they grow their communities and you're like, that's great for them, but I'm not there at all. Have you ever seen like churn in your community and you're like, what happened this month? Did I say something? Did I do something? Like, it must be me. But what I've realized, my good friend Sade Sarai, who studies organizational and human behavior, she said, Jasmine, there's 3 types of comparison. If we want to grow our business, we need to identify, and we all struggle with this, some to varying degrees. But first type of comparison that's going to get in the way of our business growth is a mental comparison. Well, you see, that works for them, not me. That works for her. That works for him, not me. You see, I'm too white, I'm too black, I'm too fluffy, I'm too skinny, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too educated, I don't have an education. Have you ever been comparing? That works for them. You see, Jasmine can speak about that and have her community, but that's not for me. The second type of comparison is a deeply rooted emotional comparison. I don't know if my community could ever be that big. If you don't believe that your business can grow to that rate, You are right. It is the emotional comparison that they have skills that you don't have. And I don't know if the belief system is there to support it. The third type of mental comparison is physical. I don't have what they have. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. I don't have the zip code. I don't have the car. I don't have the waistline. And so we fall into these types of comparison. Mental, it works for them, not me. Emotional, I don't know if it will ever even work. Or the third type of comparison is physical. I just don't have those physical items in my business. So I want to ask you, which one have you kind of sort of identified? Because I'm telling you, the minute we put a light on this, the floodgates open, you begin to grow because you actually can change the way that you're looking at this. So if you're comparing yourself in a mental capacity, well, that works for them. It just doesn't work for me. I'm going to be talking to you about 3 ways to overcome that mental comparison. And it's the 3M framework: message, messenger, and mechanism. That even if you and I are saying the same thing, even if we're building 2 communities around the same thing, join my community because you want X and you will become Y. Even if we're saying the same thing, the same message, that you and I as the messenger are different. Somebody needs to hear what you have to say only from you. We could say the same thing. I have a twin sister. People get us confused all the time, especially on social media. They think I have multiple personalities. Well, I kind of sort of do, but I am my own person and my twin sister is her own person. But even if we look the same and we said the same thing and we read from the same script, that there's the way that she speaks and the way that I speak. The messenger could be different, but also the mechanism inside of your community. Maybe you're great at audios, put audios. Maybe you're great at videos, put videos. Maybe you're fantastic at written form. The mechanism. So when you compare yourself, you know what? That works for them. Guess what? The belief is different than the fact. The fact is they are successful, but the belief is I cannot do that for them. So we need to change it and say, what can I do? Because somebody needs this message from me in the way that I do it. That, my friends, plays to your highest strength, and the energy you take into your growth strategy changes. So what if we take about the second form of comparison, the I don't believe that it could be that big? What if I'm not going to change your belief? I'm going to say, I'm not going to change the facts that you haven't grown there yet. But what about those beliefs? I have done everything in this moment to prepare me to get here. I am not starting from scratch. I'm stronger. Everything that is meant for me will find me at the right time. The fact is, somebody has a bigger business, somebody has a bigger community, fact. But the belief is, everything is happening for me. It will find me at the right time. I'm being prepared for that thing. I am telling you that narrative going into 2025, instead of I don't have enough, I won't be enough, I've tried and I have failed. Now, the third type of comparison is physical. I literally do not drive that car. I do not live in that zip code, right? I'm not vacationing on the Amalfi Coast. Well, when we talk about this comparison, I'm going to just come out and spit the dang truth. There is somebody right now who has less and is doing more. I feel like I need to repeat that again. When we compare our zip code, our car, our clothing, our children, our vacations to somebody else, and we say, because they're there and they have that, they get to do this. There is somebody else with less who is doing more. So how do we hold this space between looking at the things that we desire to looking to somebody who has less and is achieving a lot more? How do we say, how do I get in both of these places and excel? Gratitude. Gratitude as a business owner. There was a time in your life that you dreamt of doing the thing you are doing right now. Do you want to blow your dang mind? Can you just visualize going back to who you were when you were 14 years old and you walked into high school, and there in the middle of your high school, you see yourself and you go back to him or you go back to her and you say, dude, we live here. Dude, look what we're doing. We're doing it. The thing that you thought would be the coolest thing, we're doing it. And guess what? It's better. If you can go back to the former version of yourself and you talk about the gain, you will find a deeper purpose in growth instead of talking to yourself from a pretend future self of where you think you should be. That's the gap. Dr. Benjamin Hardy says you can look at your life and talk about the gain from who you once were to where you are now, or the gap, who you are now to where you want to be. And it leaves you feeling empty, lonely, like you're not doing enough. So if we talk about comparison and say, if we move that out of our way for our business growth into 2025, what are the things that we must do? We need to be courageous. And I know that we're here and we're talking about a business summit. And I promise you, friends, we could talk about tactics and we could talk about education. And I want those things to happen. But I am telling you that Bonnie is going to be talking to you and Sahil's going to be talking to you and so many other people are going to be talking about you. And you're like, yes, this is so amazing. I feel good. And then you're going to have to go out and do it in your communities. You're going to have to create this content. And you want to know what goes on in the back of your head? I don't know if I should be doing this. This feels silly. Somebody else has been saying this before. So in order for us to change our beliefs, we must make two bold statements. I'm going to be courageous in two bold ways. I believe even when it doesn't make sense. I believe in my community, even though it's super niche. I believe in this community in spite of being too white, too black, too floofy, too skinny, too young, too old, too educated, too uneducated. I will believe even though it doesn't make sense. But belief is not quite enough because we have to act. I'm going to behave as if this community, as small and niche as it is, can be destined for the type of success that I want. Then I have to make the second bold declaration after this event and say, I'm going to act despite my feelings, not because of them. I'm going to act despite my feelings, not because of them. Even if I don't feel like creating a post on the inside of my community, even if I don't want to go live or post a video on the inside of my community, that I'm going to act despite how I feel because I trust my ability to take action. I trust my ability to take what I am learning from Circle, who's generously growing their community and giving me this content. I'm going to make the bold declaration and say, I trust in my ability. Every day I tell myself, I didn't want to do it, and I'm so glad I did. I didn't want to go to the gym, and I'm so glad I did. I didn't want to create that content, and I'm so glad I did. I didn't want to have that conversation with my team, and I'm so glad I did because I was so worried about what it would mean. Would they feel bad? Would they be worried? I'm so glad that I'm cultivating a culture for growth and expansion and the ability to succeed. I didn't want to have that uncomfortable conversation, and I'm so glad I did. And then we tell ourselves, once we move comparison out of our way, and once we bring courage, we take out comparison, we bring on courage, and we say, I do this because I can, not because I must. I am building community because I can, not because I have to. I am building a community because I love it. I am building a community because it's a luxury. I'm building a community because so few people can actually do it well. I am building a community because it is changing my life. I am building a community because it is changing my career and my trajectory. Now, the crazy thing that happens is we started this conversation and I said, hey, friends, give me a fact. And all I'm going to ask is your belief around that fact. Is your business not where you projected it to be? Fact. But what do you believe about that? That you're not capable for success? That you can't blow your dang mind in Q4 and beat those projections? The belief is yours. So what facts can we be focused on? Because back in 2017, I talk a lot about business. If you have been following any of my content, I share a lot about business, but there was something that I actually wasn't too public about. In 2017, my husband and I decided we wanted to start a family, even though we knew it was going to be difficult and we were going to have to take untraditional means. Now, I will tell you that I had a dream, and my dream was to have a daughter. Now, you might have a dream, and the dream might look a little bit different. But I had a dream when it came to my business, and I took action and I did everything I possibly could. And I chose every single day that I wasn't going to be powerless. I wasn't going to let a person, a thing, or circumstance or situation stop me from getting what I wanted. And every brick wall I would try to bust through, just like you. And so anytime somebody said, you are powerless, I would say, not today. I'm going to make the decision to choose something else. So all of a sudden, I come into my personal life and like, I'm going to apply the same belief system because this is what I've done as an entrepreneur. You see, I want to hold this little girl and I want to smell her head and I want to play in bubble baths and I want to read books and I want to hear little fetid pajamas as they run through the house and I want to make pancakes. And all of a sudden, the work that we had to do to get to that point, were we going to do international adoption? We started that and we stopped because it wasn't a fit for us. Are we going to go through an adoption agency? We started that and it didn't work for us. Are we going to do foster to adopt? We started that and it didn't work for us. And 3 years later, we decided to work with a lawyer. And that just meant we were starting the process all over again. Have you ever got to a point where you feel like there's just so much work to be done? In addition to running multiple businesses, my husband and my business partner, we found ourselves going through trainings and certifications and approvals and denials. This is the thing that I couldn't talk about publicly. And how many of you have a hard time talking about things that we feel are failures, but they're outside of our control? Because when it comes to an adoption, a family will look at a book that you send them and say, yes, I'm interested. And we got a lot of no's. And man, years of waiting, just waiting to be picked. And what I felt in that moment was, oh, I'm choosing to be powerless. I am choosing to let people, a situation not being picked, being overlooked, and say, you are getting in the way of me getting what I desperately want. I was allowing myself to feel powerless. We got a 24-hour notice that a baby girl in 2020 was born in Las Vegas, Nevada. My husband and I threw everything into a car and we drove through the desert. And in that dark night, as the sky is blowing past us, we ask ourselves, is this the thing? Can we dare ourselves to apply a new belief on a fact? We were not chosen, but can we choose a different belief? So that when we knew that baby girl was born and multiple families were involved in the process, that when we walked into the Nevada appellate state court and the district attorney was lobbying for the child to stay in the system, and we just said, we choose a different thought. We are not powerless because everything is happening for us in the right time. And everything that we went through is bringing us to be ready in this moment. On February 2nd, 2020, our daughter came into our arms. And I will say that the journey of becoming powerful from powerless changed us from the inside out. I had a dream that I was going to teach my daughter what it meant not to be powerless. And her whole journey to her finding us was a lesson to me. She was meant to teach me that until I change my beliefs about situations is when I grow. Because the faster I changed my business beliefs, I got results. And the faster or slower I changed my beliefs around my personal mindset, things began to look different. And so as I end and as we get closer to the end of this conversation, I want to say thank you so much for being so generous with all of the tech difficulties. I'm going to repeat what I told myself. Everything is happening for me. When I couldn't get the audio to work, when I had to relog in, when I had to start my computer, I said, keep going. Get back up. It's not over till it's over. Because what you cannot do for yourself, you cannot do for others. How dare me come here and have a conversation with you about pushing through and saying, no, this situation that's out of my control, tech, microphones, internet, computers, this situation is out of my control. What do I believe? You're a failure. You're dumb. It's not destined. No, I choose to believe, get back up, keep going. It ain't over till it's over. Why? Because your actions inspire action. And your power inspires power. And your strength inspires strength. You, my friends, are here to do something big. Because once you realize that your resilience, your ability to get back up in business, it's not just about you, it's who you take with you. So that you can one day look around and say, I used to feel powerless. And because I changed my life and my business inside out, and I pushed aside comparison, and I accepted the courage to do the unthinkable and have the audacity to step out and do it again and again and again, regardless of what people thought about me, regardless of what people thought about my business, I went from being powerless to being powerful. Friends, what an honor and privilege to be here today.